Hello again. Welcome back. First off, congratulations on making it to the finish line. This is our last topic for this video series. So far, we've been covering many various topics that might at first seem counterintuitive because our cultures offshore in the US are so different, and as a result, so are our behaviors. And behaviors are essentially a collection of reactions and automations. This last video, this last talk, is going to be a bit lighter and easier to understand, simply because it's about the practical skill that is polished through repetition. Today, I'll cover some of my experience in making and delivering presentations. Now, and I cannot stress this enough, presentation skills are all about practice. Only through repetition can you find your own style of transmitting the information in such a way that your internal or external client is engaged and informed. This has to do with multiple competencies, of course, but I also think it's good to be aware of certain cultural differences in communication yet again. A common behavior that I've seen repeated in offshore companies of various sizes is this, and I'm sorry that it's so basic. Just imagine how I felt when this kept repeating over and over. So here's the situation. Whenever there are multiple people on the call, only one person seems to be talking, and the rest are just sitting there, shy or confused or both. That, to me, strikes a major difference in communication and presentation skills between the US and the offshore. In my case, being an essentially native English speaker, that role would be defaulted to me. As you can tell, I don't mind going and doing long monologues. And I'm sure you can find someone to take that lead in your team as well. That's not the problem. The problem is this. During a call, especially a video conference, a client sees a team, but the team is completely silent. So naturally, the one who's talking is perceived as a sole point of contact, someone who knows the language, which in the case of a team project is, of course, completely misleading. That one person who's talking is now responsible for communicating messages from 5 different people. And most of the time, that means siding with 1 or 2 of these people and away from the rest of them. Worse yet, if that one person, usually a sales rep or an AM, takes ownership in communicating everything, that puts him or her in a difficult situation, being an enemy of the internal team and a sole protector of customers' needs, or constantly defending the team and thus destroying the value for the customer. Needless to say, that causes constant conflict and stress for everyone involved. Now that we briefly covered the team image, let's talk about the self-presentation. Again, solely based on my observation, my perception, I've seen too many times where, say, a Zoom call is initiated by the client side, say they're from California, and they're all cheerful and talkative, sharing some details about themselves, their roles, and of course the weather. As you might know, small talk is simply a way to be polite. And so then our side is, well, they're completely silent. That awkward silence when nobody wants to introduce themselves or make an appropriate joke or of course, creates immediate pressure, which as a result fails to connect 2 sides. I've been thinking as to why that's such a big challenge, such a common one. And I'm still not sure if it's the fear of English language, a kind of reserved type of personality that prevails in engineering, or both. Either way, this behavior of ignoring the part where you talk about yourself and not showing any interest in having a dialogue is, of course, unacceptable. For the client side, it's simply perceived as rude. And perception, as we already know, is reality. When you don't analyze, gauge, and match the energy of the other side, you end up losing the human connection. So, to sum up, don't forget about the small talk. It's usually a few words about a common topic, weather, family, favorite sports team, etc. A small talk is meant to connect 2 strangers on a human level and set them for success in a conversation. Finally, I want to touch upon the actual use of language. There's no shame in acknowledging that your English vocabulary can use some work. Not being a native speaker is not a problem. The problem is when you think you know the meaning of a certain expression or even a simple word, but the context completely changes it. And sometimes it straight up alters the meaning of to an inappropriate or a rude one. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a complicated word. For example, saying okay a certain way can cut the client off and make an impression that you aren't interested in what they have to say. So your intention was to show that you're listening, and instead you appeared as rude. A completely opposite result caused by a simple misuse of a basic word. Like I said, it's all very contextual and personal. So, as your final piece of homework, I'll ask you to do a presentation for me. Now, I'm sure you all have a favorite topic to talk about. It can be a sports team you follow, a piece of software you enjoy using, a favorite music band, anything. I'll ask you to please prepare a record of yourself, a video recording, making a presentation on that subject of your choosing. Please do it as a screen share, say going over the website or presenting a quick slideshow, a keynote on the particular topic of your choosing. And since we've been trying to absorb the American business culture, I'll also ask you to do it in English. Now, just as a recommendation, you might want to prepare a script beforehand so that you could take your time and organize your thoughts, but please do the video in one take. It helps to make mistakes and learn as you go. The video itself doesn't need to be long. 5 to 10 minutes will suffice. I'll happily review each of your submissions and we will work on the feedback individually. Thank you as always. You've made it to the end of my video course. I really hope it was useful and had been a blast for you. Please reach out to me directly for any further work, and I appreciate your time and attention. Thank you.